Threads. I'm your host, Daniel Hill, and this is the weekend edition of the Instagram Stories. Today on the show, a minor bit of news about the Threads website. You used to be able to go to threads.net to access Threads, but now you can get there by going to threads.com. Additionally, Ashley Coffey will share with us an update on what's the latest in AI news for this week, and an interview with Heston Roberts from Social Varsity, who's an expert on ManyChat and starts to share some of the secrets about how to use DM automation on today's episode. All of that and more, but first, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back. Let's start with the Threads news. Threads on the web has a new address. Now, instead of needing to go to threads.net, you can just go to threads.com. A couple of other minor changes to Threads. The website will now display your custom feeds in the same order with which you've arranged them on mobile, and you can also find your liked and saved posts from the site's main menu icon instead of needing to make a separate column for them on the homepage. Additionally, Threads is testing a new feature where you can upload a list of people you follow on other apps, starting with Twitter, also known as X. So you can find all those people that you were connected with on Twitter, you can find them over on Threads. You can now copy Threads posts as images as well, which lets you paste them into other platforms like Instagram. Additionally, Threads on the web is introducing a new icon on the right side of the screen to add columns, with a new plus button in the bottom right-hand corner so that you can use that to create a new post. Okay, let's move on to our AI news. And for what's new this week in AI, we have our guest host, Ashley Coffey. Take it away, Ashley.
Hello and welcome to another weekly roundup of what happened in AI. So much, so let's get to it. This is Ashley Coffey, host of the Coffee and Code podcast, and I'm partnering with Daniel Hill to help bring a little bit of AI knowledge to you, the listener. So let's dive in and get to it. Interestingly enough, this week, Microsoft launched their 2025 Work Trend Index report, a very popular report that they release every year. I always pay attention to it because it indicates what to look out for. And based on the survey of 31,000 people, it argues that frontier firms that are utilizing agentic AI as digital workers are emerging, which is really interesting. I recommend people following that because we're probably going to see even more of that this year. Another interesting headline this week, Margaret Mitchell, an AI ethics researcher at Hugging Face, gave her interesting insights on the AI models that were tested and designed for bias in languages beyond English. And another interesting headline this week, Ziff Davis sues OpenAI, alleging it used Ziff Davis's content to train AI models, sources say. Ziff Davis is seeking at least hundreds of millions of dollars. That is a headline from the New York Times, and we are seeing a trend in cases that are the first of their time. What's going to happen? We shall see. Trump signs an executive order to boost AI education and workforce training and establishes an AI education task force led by the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy Director. So interesting position there. I'm very much closely watching this to see how quickly things are moving. It should be an interesting Q3, that's for sure. Meta this week moved Threads from threads.net to threads.com. Since Meta did drop the new Edits app this week, they are trying to move towards a platform in which you can use generative AI to film your videos and create cool backgrounds and layers and whatnot. So that is a big reasoning behind launching Edits, also to compete with ByteDance's CapCut. We're going to see more innovation, let's hope, but thank you for listening, and thank you for Daniel for letting me co-host and share a little bit more about AI. Again, my name is Ashley Coffey, host of the Coffee and Code podcast, and have a great week.
Thank you for that update, Ashley. We're going to keep working on this to keep you updated, understanding the links and the connections between AI and social, how they're overlapping, and how all of this is going to keep evolving. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, Heston Roberts from Social Varsity is going to stop by to share some tips about DM automation using ManyChat with a bunch of things you probably didn't know. Stick around. Welcome back. One of my goals for the podcast has been to do an in-person interview. However, in order for an in-person interview to happen, I have to literally be in the same place as someone else and arrange for a podcast studio rental. You would think that's not that hard, but the challenges and logistics of finding someone who lives locally or is going to be in the area and lining up schedules and finding a podcast studio that can do video recording, there's actually a lot that goes into it. Good news, I finally was able to make it happen with Heston Roberts, who lives in the New Jersey area, which made it much simpler. We were able to get together in person and talk about how to use DM automation on Instagram in a way that would end up in success and not be viewed as spam. Here's Heston Roberts in section 1 of this interview. Heston, for people who might not be familiar with you, can you tell us who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. I am Heston Roberts, the founder and president of Social Varsity, which is a social media agency that specializes in chat marketing and DM automation. And it's just something I absolutely love, taking care with other clients and showing them how to work smarter and not harder.
I love that. Tell us a little bit about the automation things, chat automation, how it works, why someone would use it, and so on.
Absolutely. Well, the thing that I use, the program specifically that I use is ManyChat. Now, a lot of people are aware of it, and some people are just not discovering the power of DM automation with ManyChat. It's one of those things where you see on Instagram where they might say comment X and then I'll send you Y. We see it all over the place, whether it's on a reel or an IG story, and it's just such an easy way to get the link. Whatever it is that we're promoting as creators and business owners, rather than telling them to go to the link in bio. You're forcing the user to go and leave your content and then go to somewhere else where you might lose out on engagement and views. Instead, you're meeting the customer where they are. And if they find that message on IG story or a reel or even during an IG live, they could just simply comment the word and get that message, whatever the link is that you put in the DM. And the best thing about it, they could engage with it right then and there, or whenever they want. It's always there waiting for them in the inbox.
I do like this concept, and it's something I've experimented with a little bit personally. Like you said, it is a great way to transition them from something that they're interested in, they saw your post on social media about, to actually digesting whether they have to buy an item or they want to buy an item, or you want them to listen to a podcast or whatever it is, to be able to get them off the social media platform onto another platform instead. Can you tell us a little bit about the tools that you actually work with and how you got started with those?
Well, this main tool that I use is ManyChat, but there are different automation programs out there. I happen to use ManyChat because it seemed to be one of the simplest and easiest ones to use. And we have to make sure that it is friendly to work with Meta. And when I say Meta, because I know a lot of people use ManyChat for Instagram, but it actually works for multiple platforms. Most of them being Meta applications like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. It even works with Threads in a certain way that I tell people, not integrated directly, but there are ways that you could utilize it with a link. And now it also works on TikTok, which I can't wait to explore even more.
Okay, wait, you said a lot of things there. Can you explain I am very interested in this, and I know just enough about this topic to say I know like step 1 of how ManyChat integration works, how you can send someone a link through a DM, but how does it work with Threads? Can you tell us a little bit?
They have a feature called Ref URL. Not a lot of people are aware of this. They've had it for probably about a few years now. And what it does is all of the automations that we've probably been using before with ManyChat, there's a certain feature that when you tap on the link, or I should say when you're creating this actual automation, you go on Ref URL and it creates a URL, regular string, but you take that, copy and paste it, and you can place it anywhere. I like to place it on Threads. Right now, I have one on my pinned post and even YouTube. So when people click on it, they click on the link and it actually opens up Instagram. It launches the DM. Now, if you're following me and you click that, the automation automatically starts. But if you're not following me, I just tell you which keyword to use and the DM is already open. So you comment that keyword and it starts the automation.
I get it. That actually makes a lot of sense. Since Threads doesn't have its own separate DM inbox, it makes sense that you would want to get them on Instagram. If they're not following you, or if you are not following each other, right, it'll go into that message request folder. So it's good that you give them the keyword of what exactly to start that conversation going. That's very interesting. Now, I think a lot of people might be concerned that this would potentially violate some kind of rules that Instagram has or Meta has as a whole, and they don't want to get their account flagged. So how does that work? Is that a concern? Is it valid?
Well, there are definitely rules that you want to follow. Meta is definitely trying to protect their user base, so they put certain rules that ManyChat and some of their other DM automation services to follow. And those respective services have to follow it to stay aligned with their official Meta business partner role. And if they don't, then they end up losing that, and they lose access to the API that Meta provides for them. So with ManyChat, as an example, you have to follow certain things. So you can't do certain things such as to send them direct messages as soon as they follow. And that's one of the questions I get so often. So you cannot do that, unfortunately.
So you're saying as soon as someone starts to follow you, just immediately start sending them DMs of like suggestions of things to buy or links to check out.
Because that is spamming. Right. We got to be realistic. That is spamming for most people that are on Instagram, and they would have a bad experience. And Instagram doesn't want that.
Okay, I'm going to pause the interview there. Heston shares more tips and tricks, but I'm going to link to the rest of the interview in the show notes if you want to listen or if you want to watch it on YouTube. Since we did it in person and we have video, there is a in-person video that you can watch. I'll link to all of it in the show notes. As always, thank you for listening, and be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things that you need to know.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager, but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually, that's factually a fraction of me. And other fractions posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.